So today's title is The Secret of Godly Relationships. Begin with our personal story. That's me and that's my wife, Betty, the beautiful girl out there. Yes, you might be wondering. Yeah, she's way over my league. Yeah, but yeah, that's how grace works too. So our personal story is that, we got married in the year of 2017, and before that I met her in August. We started speaking in August, and I think in 2 weeks time we knew that we wanted to get married to each other, and we set the date fixed, we set the venue fixed, everything was fixed. So our courtship period was basically for 6 months, but during that courtship period we fought a lot. And one of the reasons we fought was because I am more of a disciplined guy, in the sense like time is very important to me. Okay, so even when I was living with my parents, 10 o'clock meant shut off the lights, go to your room, and that's night time, right? That's your time. So for me, when me and Betty started dating, we had this thing that we would speak every night. So in my understanding, talking to her every night meant talking to her every night after 10 o'clock. But her definition of night was very different from my definition. She had a lot of friends who would work during the day, and then they would hang out, and by the time they would come back home, it would be pretty late. And by the time she would come back home, I would be either sleeping or I'm still awake waiting for her. So it's like causing me frustration, because I'm like, I've been waiting for you, and she comes, she says hello, and then she just sleeps off, right? So it just felt like I was putting a lot into this relationship, whereas she wasn't putting so much effort. And I felt like she wasn't being committed to this relationship as much as I was. But the reality is, I was just too vela. Okay, I was a lot of vela in the night, and she was not. She had stuff to do, and that really irritated me. So the reason we had a fight was because I was in love. Betty was my entire reality. She was my world, right? I could not live without her. Man, Betty, why can't you not talk to me? I want to talk to you. My day becomes better when you talk to me, right? That's the kind of love that we were in. Then we got married, and just purposely put that picture out there so that you can eat your heart out, right? We went to Maldives for our honeymoon. It's a beautiful place, beautiful scenery, lovely food, and we had an amazing time in Maldives. So we went for honeymoon straight after our wedding. And the moment we came back, the moment I got back home, that drug of infatuation and romance, it just took off completely. Like, completely, right? Like the person that I was earlier, who was like, Betty, you're my world, you're my reality, it just came off. Like my eyes were unveiled. It just happened in an instant. Meaning it did not take time. It just happened in an instant. And I am seeing this whole new reality in a completely different light. And I'm processing this like, okay, I'm married now. And I'm not feeling that love as I used to. I'm not feeling that romance as I used to. So I started processing this, and that's when I realized why married people always complained, why married people made sexist jokes, why married people were always trying to be funny in cracking jokes about marriage, but in fact they were hurting deep inside. I understood it. I could feel their pain. I got it. But there was something which was beyond this whole pain, that both of us saw something which is our secret, and that secret is the reason why we are still in love and why we are growing each day in deeper intimacy. Okay, and that is a secret that I want to share with you guys. So this is just to give you a context. If you right now, if you're in a relationship, if you have a crush, or if you're in marriage, or if you just got married, or if you are in an imaginary relationship, it applies to you. And you're thinking, man, this is the best thing that has ever happened to me, and this feeling of love is amazing. Like, I can't live without her. She is my world, she is my honey, she is my blue skies, everything. And I'm telling you, you will come to a point where a different kind of reality will hit you, and it will change your entire course. Okay, so unless you're not prepared for that, we will still behave like children. Like, we have one toy, we don't get satisfied with one toy, we want another toy. Okay, we behave like children, but relationships don't work like that. So you and me have the choice of really being happy or sad. It's our choice. That's why we are doing this. Okay, got it? So the first lesson is, don't make the other person your reality. Don't make the other person your entire world. Oh, I can't live without her, she is my world. Don't do that. Because if you do that, you are either going to feel unexpected, you'll feel like, man, I did not expect this. You are going to be disappointed, you're going to be frustrated. When the other person is your reality, or when the other person is your world, you have expectations that you're not conscious of right now. You don't know what these expectations are, but there are expectations that your subconscious mind has, which you yourself don't know consciously. Now, what happens is, since you don't know about these expectations, you have obviously not communicated this. Because we don't communicate them, we get frustrated. Why? Because our expectations are not met, right? So eventually, no matter where you are in your journey in the relationship, eventually the other person will become a disappointment for you. Eventually, your whole world will crash down. The place where you have elevated them to be, it will all come trash, it will come like a pack of cards, and you will realize, man, how did you miss this? How did I miss this? I never expected this. It will throw you completely off balance. And let me tell you, the reasons why you liked the other person will become the very reason why you don't like them anymore. Okay, so if you have like 100 reasons, oh, this is why I like him, this is why I like her, I'm telling you, those very reasons will be why you will not like them anymore. And I'm telling you, if you are hearing me this right now and you're in a place of love, you are in like, oh man, I love this guy. Oh man, this guy rocks my world. I'm telling you guys, you will not like what I'm saying, but this is the truth. The other person is going to disappoint you no matter what. See, here's the thing, in relationship, everybody's trying hard not to have a heartbreak. Everybody is trying hard. And I'm telling you, if you are in a relationship, you cannot avoid heartbreak. You will have a heartbreak. The other person will disappoint you. So don't make the other person your reality. Because you know what, when you're in this relationship, when you're in this, infatuation mode, or you're in this high dose of love, you are like, oh, you know what, we are so similar. Oh, you know what, we are so different, and that makes us unique. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how similar you are. It doesn't matter how different you are. It doesn't matter how physically compatible you are. It doesn't matter how emotionally compatible you are. What matters is, you will be disappointed. You have set yourself for disappointment. Why? Because the other person cannot be your reality. If you put the other person as your reality, the other person is going to disappoint you sooner or later. What happened is, do you see this drawing A and B? So there's a simple phenomena. The simple phenomena is, if there are two things that are moving in parallel towards infinity, okay, they are moving in parallel towards infinity and they are hitting their goal, they are going towards their goal. The thing is, while they are moving towards infinity and they begin to focus on each other, okay, they were moving towards infinity and they begin to focus on each other, what is going to happen is, the result is they would get closer and cross each other and move as far away from each other. That's a simple phenomenon. Okay, I'll say it again. If there are two things that are moving in parallel towards infinity and they begin to focus on each other, the result would be they would get closer, they would meet, and then they would move as far away from each other. And I'm saying, look around you. Look around all the marriages that you know. They were all honey bunny. Man, you are my honey, you are my bunny, you are my world, you are my this. Now they don't even want to look at each other's face. Why? Think about it. Why? Why? Because you made the other person your reality. You made the world around them, and they were meant to disappoint you, and they disappointed you, and now you hate them. Does that make sense? Because you expected the other person to be something that they are not meant to be. They are not meant to be your reality. You idolize them. You put them on a pedestal and you are expecting something from them. They cannot be your God. Here's a simple illustration. The guy says, you know what, I'm going to get into a relationship. Why? Because I need love. And the girl says, I'm going to get into a relationship. Why? Because I need love. This is a zero-sum game. If both of you are going to get into a relationship because you need love, who is going to give you love? Do you get it? And I'm telling you, this happens all the time. I want to be in a relationship because I want to find love. I want to be in a relationship because I want to feel happy. I want to be in a relationship because I want to feel satisfied. If you are going to do that, the other person is also going to expect that from you. And if you're expecting that from the other person and the other person is expecting the same from you, you both are going to stay in lack. You both are expecting something that is not there in the other person. In fact, it is not there in you. And that is why this is a zero-sum game. You know, you get frustrated, you get disappointed. Why? What happened? Because you made the other person your reality. Does that make sense? Okay, going forward. The second lesson is find purpose in the relationship which is bigger than the two of you. Okay, and I'm telling you this is extremely important. If you are finding for the, you know, for that one person, you're finding for the right guy, this is important for you. Or even if you're in a relationship already, if you don't have a purpose in the relationship which is bigger than the two of you, you will be focused on each other and you will kill each other. Now, just the explanation, you remember the other phenomena, A and B moving across infinity. Now, if A and B moving across infinity, if they have a common goal, what will happen is they will move towards that common goal. And as they move towards the common goal, they would get closer to each other in their journey. Does that make sense? So you need to find a purpose. You need to find a common goal, which you want to move towards that as a family, as a couple, in a relationship. So if you have a common goal, you will get more closer to each other. You will grow in intimacy. You don't have to fall in love. See, that's the problem. People fall in love and get hurt. Don't fall in love when you can grow in love. Grow in love. Get more closer to each other. And that will only happen if both of you have a common goal. Okay. Now, the thing is, how stable is your goal? You can have any goal as you want, but dependent on how stable your goal is, that will define the quality of your relationship. Now, your goal might be, oh, you know what? We are physically compatible with each other. So, you know, physical compatibility could be a goal, or your sexual preferences could be a goal, or emotional compatibility could be a goal, or children could be a goal. But understand this, the stable the goal is, the quality of your relationship is defined by that. Now, the idea of a common goal is to have something which is beyond time and space, which is eternal. Because think about it, having children, nurturing them, is that a good goal? It's a good goal, but it's not a good enough common goal. Let me tell you why. Because your children, once they get married, they will leave you. Then what will you do as a couple? So you need something which is beyond time and space, which is eternal. And I'm telling you, one of the reasons why married couples all across the world have an issue with each other when their children get married is because they don't know what to do with each other. All their lives, they lived for their children. Everything was focused around their children. Like just as I was saying, don't make the other person your reality. We make our children our reality. And when the child leaves, when our children leave, you know, the couple don't know what to do with each other. Don't make a common goal which is just temporary. Make something which is beyond time and space, which is eternal. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, okay, verse 12. The last phrase says, a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. If your relationship is just between you and your other person, it can be easily broken. But a cord of 3 strands cannot be broken. Why? Who is the third variable? See, I'm telling you, this is not a cliche, guys. Understand this. This is pearls of wisdom. Nothing can beat knowing God as the eternal common goal for relationship. Nothing can beat that. Superficial people would say, you know what, we are physically compatible, we look similar, or whatever, we are physically compatible. She's so beautiful, oh, he's so handsome. Superficial people would say that. Some smart people would say, oh, you know what, I did 16 personality tests, I compared the personalities, and oh, our emotional compatibility is so great. Some smart people would say that, but you're still missing the point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how compatible you are physically, emotionally, if you're not compatible spiritually, because you're a spirit being. You're a spirit being with soul and body. Knowing God is, man, I can't tell you, can be the most amazing goal that you can have as a couple. And you know what? It doesn't matter where you are in the journey. Okay? It doesn't matter where your theological background is from. You might know a lot of theology, the other person might not know a lot of theology. It doesn't matter. As long as your common goal is knowing God, as you pursue that, you are bound to get intimate and grow in love. You are bound to get intimate. See, when my and Betty's relationship started, we were not in the same place. And I don't think still we are in the same theological place of knowing God. But we know this. In the last 3 years of our marriage, the more we have focused in knowing God, our relationship has been beautiful, has grown more in deep intimacy. Why? Because our focus is knowing. We want to know Him. That's our goal. In our relationship, in our family life, even in our personal individual lives, the goal is to know Him. As you get to know Him, as you get closer to God, you will get closer to each other. Don't fall in love when you can grow in love. A word of caution. Okay, I want to give you a word of caution. This is from Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16 to 17. It says that no one is sexually immoral or unholy like Esau. Giving an example of Esau. Remember Esau? Who sold his birthright for a single meal. For you know that afterward, when he desired to inherit the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no chance to repent, though he sought it with tears. What is the author saying? Author is saying, guys, don't miss out on the spiritual reality of what God has for you by being short-sighted with the physical or the emotional satisfaction that you can have right now. Don't miss out. You have a great destiny. God has a great destiny for you. Don't miss it out. Esau missed out his birthright inheritance because of one meal. One meal. Don't miss out your spiritual reality for this immediate gratification of your body or your soul. And I understand, the need for it. I understand. Yes, there's a need for sexual intimacy. There's a need for emotional intimacy and all of that. I understand the need. But can you trust God today? That He's your good Father. That if your earthly father not being as good as God is, if your earthly father can provide you for everything that you need, God will give you. Your heavenly Father will provide for your needs, every need that you have, even the sexual desires. Last point is very simple: show grace. Now, the reason why we need to show grace is because we have to acknowledge our weaknesses, our insecurities, and issues. We have to acknowledge that. And there's a lot of things that you don't know about yourself. Forget the other person. You don't know about yourself. Okay, there are a lot of weaknesses, there are a lot of insecurities that will come in light as you start journeying with each other. You don't know about it. So especially when people say, I know her, I know him, oh, she knows me. Man, you guys don't know. There is still a lot more that is there. Why? Because you are constantly changing. The other person is constantly changing. There will always be a lot of unknown in each other to be discovered. That's why you need to show grace. And you have to acknowledge. You have to acknowledge. I see all the good, but yeah, there could be a lot of bad. And you have to acknowledge that. Be prepared for that. Because then you shouldn't be like, oh, I did not expect this. Ye to kabhi dekha hi nahi tha. Do you see this? This is a wonderful explanation. Onion. Your relationship journey is more like peeling of an onion. With each layer unfolded, you will always find another layer beneath. And as you are peeling an onion, you start crying. Why do you start crying? Because it's a very intense journey. Okay, it's a very intense, beautiful journey. But what I'm saying is, you guys need to be prepared that you don't know yourself, you don't know the other person. There's a lot of unknown that lays to be discovered. If you don't show grace, you are setting yourself up for disaster. Now, here's the thing. At present, we are all portraying our best versions, right? When we are talking to people, we are all portraying a best version, and the other person is also doing the same. And for good reasons. Otherwise, nobody would get into a relationship. If you all show a worst version, nobody would want to talk to us, right? So for good reasons that we are portraying our best version. But understand this, जो दिखता है वो होता नहीं है और जो होता है वो दिखता नहीं है. So there's a lot of unknown. That is what I'm trying to tell you. There's a lot of unknown. It doesn't matter what stage of relationship you are in. There's a lot of unknown that you will discover, not just about each other, you will discover about yourself too. So how do you traverse through an unknown? How do you navigate through an unknown? You need faith. You need faith to navigate through the unknown. And where does this faith comes from? Faith comes from the common goal that you have set. So that's why I said, how stable your common goal is. It defines the quality of your relationship. So that faith comes from the common goal. If your faith is on temporary things, your faith will be temporary. The stable your common goal is, the stable your faith is. So as you have faith in your common goal or purpose, okay, you show grace not just to each other, but to yourselves as well. This is very important. You have to show grace not just to each other, but to yourselves as well. This is the secret of our marriage, okay? This verse has been since the very beginning, okay? This is 1 John chapter 4, verse 18 to 19. It says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not been perfected in love. I love this verse. We love because he first loved us. Understand this, guys. When you get to know God's love, you begin to love God. When you get to know God's love, you begin to love yourself. When you get to know God's love, you begin to love other people around you. I'm saying if you know God's love, you cannot struggle with love. But if you are trying to generate love by yourself, trying to love the other person by yourself, you will always get drained off. But if you get to know how much God loves you today, you will love God, you will love yourself, and you will love others. And I just want to put this point across because I felt so led by the Spirit to tell you this. Sometimes we find it so easy to love other people than to love ourselves. Listen to what Jesus said. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you can't love yourself, if you can't show grace to yourself, you will do the same to your neighbors as well. Learn to love yourself. Know God's love. Show grace. Forgive yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Forgive yourself. Yes, you have weakness. Yes, you have insecurities. Yes, there are issues that are there in your life. Forgive yourself. Get up. Show grace. As you show grace to yourself, you will see how you will be graceful to other people as well. If you're not graceful to yourself, you will be a hypocrite, self-righteous, don't want to say other words. You get it, right? But start showing grace. So I'm concluding here. So let's just do a quick revision. What's the first lesson? Don't make the other person your reality. Don't make them your reality. Don't make them your world. Don't make them your God, because they will disappoint you. Instead, find a purpose or find a reality in your relationship which is bigger than the two of you. Knowing God is the biggest purpose that you can ever have. Nothing can beat knowing God as a couple, as a family. Find your purpose in that relationship which is bigger than the two of you. Knowing God. Finally, show grace. Show grace not just to one another, but show grace to yourself. Now, if you're wondering where you are, okay, how matured you are in terms of intimacy or relationship or whatever, ask yourself these questions. Are you happy today? Okay, not when you will have a relationship, not when the other person will talk to you, not when the other person will tell you I love you. I'm saying irrespective of all of that, are you happy today? Are you content with your life? Are you full of love? Okay, wherever you are, without being in a relationship, without being married, are you happy today? Are you content with your love? Are you full of love? If the answer for these is no, that means you're most likely trying to find satisfaction something outside than finding it internally in your relationship with God. Why do you want to be in a relationship? Because I want to be happy. Why do you want to be in a relationship? Because I want to find love. Why do you want to be in a relationship? Because I want to be sexually satisfied. And I'm telling you, if those are the reason why you want to be in a relationship, you are going to get disappointed. Only God can satisfy you. Don't look for satisfaction outside your relationship with God, because He is limitless. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 4 to 6. I'm reading the TPT version and I love this version. It says, I'm always thanking my God for you because He has given you such free and open access. Okay? Free and open access to His grace through your union with Jesus. How did we get open access? Through our union with Jesus, the Messiah. And then He says, in Him you have been made extravagantly rich. How are you? You have been made. It's something that has already been done. You are extravagantly rich in every way. In every way. And He says you have been endowed with a wealth of inspired utterance and the riches that comes from your intimate knowledge of Him. Whatever you need today is there in knowing God. Whatever you need today is there in knowing God. And He continues, for the reality of the truth of Christ is seen among you and strengthened through your experience of Him. You want to grow in intimacy, you want to grow in your relationship, you want to find the right partner, I don't know, whatever it is, I'm telling you guys, you need to find security and satisfaction in this amazing relationship that you have with Jesus. Don't find it outside, because nothing outside can satisfy you. You are designed for a limitless satisfaction. You're designed like that. How can you be limited? You are designed for limitless satisfaction. And that limitless satisfaction can only come from your union with Jesus. You're already blessed. You're already blessed. Don't go looking outside for satisfaction. You're already blessed. So here's my final advice. Don't get married for the wrong reasons. Don't get into a relationship for the wrong reasons. Make God your reason today. I don't know if you've heard of this phrase, people say a lot during marriage. You put in your 50%, the other puts in your 50, the other person puts in the 50%, and then it becomes 100%. No, that is not what marriage is. That is not what relationship is. You put in your 100%. Why? Because you are whole. Why? Because of the relationship that you have with Jesus. You're not empty, you're whole. And when the other puts the 100%, because they are whole in their relationship with Jesus, then it makes it a beautiful marriage. It makes it heaven on earth. May God bless you.